And I've built $1 million business on this because I believe if you show people who you are and you actually act on those values, like the customers come. Just say, here's what I'm doing, here's why I'm doing it, here's the behind the scenes, like come with me, come be a part of this.
Love.
Buyers come.
Hi, friend. Welcome to The Creative Minute, a podcast for the entrepreneur who's obsessed with personal growth, creativity, and marketing strategy. My name is Shauna, and I am a super nerd about all things content and entrepreneurship. In this space, we are sharing stories, tips, and actionable steps that will help you get more creative and have more fun with content creation. I'm all about making content fast and easily so that you can crush your visibility goals and actually move the needle in your business. Plus, we'll talk about how to chase after the best and most authentic version of yourself in your life, business, relationships, and more. So pull up a seat and let's have a brunch-style chat and break things down in a way that feels easy so you can focus more on doing the things that you actually love and want to spend your time doing. Let's get into it. Hi, friend. Welcome back to The Creative Minute. Today, I have Taylor Smith, creator of The Power Table, and I am so thrilled to be diving into our conversation today because she's going to talk to us about how to create a buy anything community. And when she was voice noting me on Instagram, she was like explaining it, and I was literally like, I couldn't even handle my excitement of how much I wanted to dive into this conversation. So, Taylor, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to, first of all, it's my favorite thing to talk about, but second of all, I'm just excited to be here and talking to you as well and your listeners.
Yay! Well, I can't wait to just share your amazing wealth of expertise. Taylor and I met, I think it was via LinkedIn, but we're social media pals. And I get to be featured on her summit coming up, which we'll definitely talk about that later in the episode. But first, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself? I know you're a personal brand expert. Talk to us about what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a business and marketing strategist with a specialization in personal branding and community building. I'm also a keynote speaker, and I have a BA and MA in anthropology. So my first and only dream career was to be a college professor, and I became a college professor and a published academic at 23 years old.
Wow.
So most of my students were my age, and that was a really interesting experience, or older than me. And it was all I ever wanted was to teach. And then very quickly into that career, I realized how underpaid and undervalued I was, and it was soul killing. So it didn't take me very long to figure that out, and I ended up building businesses that became very successful very quickly. I'm a 4-time founder, and I learned that my skills and my training in human behavioral sciences really lent itself extremely well to entrepreneurship and marketing. And it kind of evolved from there, and I've now created The Power Table, which is a podcast, live conference, virtual and in-person events, and community for women in business. And over the past 6 years, I've coached over 3,000 women entrepreneurs in areas of marketing, personal branding, and learning how to grow and scale their businesses.
Snaps. Holy cow. Okay, so wait, 4-time founder. What are the 4 businesses you founded?
People always ask me that, and I'm like, oh, please don't ask me that. Because some of them are not sexy and fun, but they work, right? And this actually leads where we're going, talking about community building. But the first thing I did was I thought I was going to lose my job during COVID. So I turned to my sister, because, oldest sister is going to rope the little sister into stuff. And so I was like, hey, you're an artist. Why don't we start an Etsy shop? We scaled it in 4 months to the top 1% of Etsy shops out of 8 million shops worldwide.
So cool.
Then we jumped into digital products, and we built a whole digital product, a course suite on Etsy selling and how to market small businesses. Genius. And that was incredibly successful. And then also with my mom, I started a small real estate company. So we have several boutique historic properties we host retreats at, and it's really fun, very specialized here on the Gulf Coast. And then also I do my own business coaching and consulting and working with clients in that area.
Okay, 0 of those are boring. 0.
They feel so boring to me. I'm like, oh, you don't want to hear about that.
Oh my God, yes. Okay, so Etsy's really cool, and it speaks to your expertise because physical products are very different than coaching services or even other services like photography or videography where you're in person with someone and then you create something. I think that that's really cool, and it really lends to your expertise. What was it like shifting from the, okay, we're doing this thing with physical products and then going into teaching it? Which one did you like more?
Yeah, so very quickly I realized like I don't want anything to do with physical products.
It's
And
hard.
so I flipped that around super fast, sold it back to my sister, and was like, you
Cool.
take this and run with it, girlfriend. And she still does it to this day. Very successful shop. She took it in new directions. We have wholesale accounts all over the country. Very, very cool as well. So that just kept growing. But for me, like really quickly, I was like, wait a second, I still get to be a teacher. I just get paid a whole lot more. And I get to do it on my schedule, right? And I'm not wondering if I'm going to get my teaching contract renewed every year, right? So there was so much that, you know, one of the beautiful things about being in business is you can start messy and you can see success and then realize like, just because I can do that doesn't mean that makes me excited, doesn't mean I'm passionate about that, doesn't mean I should be doing it. And I also don't have to stick with it forever.
I love that you like were able to give yourself that permission, because there's so many people in this world who are like, no, I studied this thing, I have to stick with it even if it's soul crushing. So I think that it's a really cool permission slip that you're giving to people to be able to shift and then be really successful in the next thing that you're doing. So yay. So talk to me about community building. How has that played a role?
There's a whole strategy around this. And I think people are really like quick to talk about other parts of social media strategy. Like you could find 1,000 different podcast episodes on, you know, hooks or content pillars.
Totally.
This is the strategy you've been missing that no one's talking about when it comes to your content. I'm very, very excited to dive into that because anyone can do it. It works for any type of business and there's so many benefits. But how I kind of got into this idea of community building and really started to build a powerful framework that would generate long-lasting clients, people who would buy from you again and again and again, is because of those pivots I kept making, right? And I kept doing things. And I was so embarrassed. I was like, people are going to think I'm flaky. Like, people are going to think I'm constantly hopping from thing to thing, which I wasn't quitting any of them, really. I was just expanding. Yep. But I was like, in that process, I was like putting forth a new version of me and my personal brand every time I expanded. Yep. And I really struggled with that. And I was so embarrassed by it for a long time. And then I kind of had this reality check. And I was like, wait a second, those pivots aren't negatively affecting your bank account.
Yeah.
So you might be freaking out about how people are perceiving you, but they just keep buying from you. So what is it? And I really got obsessed. I put on my anthropologist hat and I got very obsessed with what if there was a way to guarantee your business would never run out of clients and that those clients would buy from you more than once. What
we all want it.
Makes them
we want
stick
it.
around? Right, exactly. Every time I asked that question, people were like, I don't know, but I need it. That really is, at its essence, the power of community building. So you can have a very strong personal brand and it will make people buy from you and you will get opportunities. But community is actually what takes that personal brand and makes it a trust magnet, because people are no longer just relying on you and what you're saying, but rather in real time, they can access social proof and connect with other people who are buying into your mission, who are on the same path, who have shared goals. They're at similar parts of the journey. And you're never going to be able to do that on your own, right? You could be the greatest, most magnetic content creator in the world, but if you don't have other people helping you sell your mission, helping you help others, it's very, very hard to continue to maintain trust. So that right there, if you build community, you make people feel seen and valued, they will buy anything you offer again and again.
This is so good. I love that you said that community makes you an automatic trust magnet. That's huge. And if you think about it, it also is a way to work smarter, not harder, because these people, like you said, are selling your mission for you. I love this. So first, let's talk to someone who's kind of at the beginning of building their personal brand, or maybe they have a personal brand established. They're already posting, they're doing the content pillar thing. They are putting content out there. How do they make a shift into actually making it a community building exercise?
Yeah. Okay. We're going to get into exactly what you need to define, and these are great journaling questions. But before we do get into that, there is kind of one more thing I want to make sure people are aware of, and that is that people genuinely do want this. So it's not just a marketing strategy. There really is, what we're seeing is a new set of buying desires for consumers. Right now, people are stressed out with the economy. At this point, you have to assume, if you're a service provider or a coach or a course creator, you have to assume in the last 5 years, your ideal client has bought something from someone else and has been disappointed. Their expectations were not met. So even though that has nothing to do with you, it means, right, they're coming in a little weary, a little skeptical. And what they're desperately craving, what people desperately want right now is belonging, accountability, encouragement, kindness, a support system. And those are things that most people are failing to put into their offers. They also want a trusted leader that they can believe in, that they can see themselves in, that they can say, hey, if I keep going, I can be like her. I can have her success. All of this is what people are desperate to have right now. In the United States, we are in a loneliness epidemic. 58% of Americans report being lonely on a weekly to daily basis. So if you want to make your offers scalable and magnetic and stand out in the crowd, you need to be selling connection, support, accountability, belonging. So being aware, this is not just a marketing tactic. It is what your audience, your people, your buyers, they genuinely want this kind of connection to other people. And so if you're thinking, okay, yes, I agree with you. I think people need that. Where do I start? I would start by making sure that you have a clear idea of your mission. What do you care about? What is the movement that you are willing to hang your flag on and lead? What happens in the world if you were to help people with that? So I'll give you an example. Let's say that you're a weight loss coach and you help women lose body fat and gain body confidence and self-confidence. And you know your program works, right? You know you can help people. You have some past clients, you know your stuff. Maybe you even experienced that transformation yourself. But I want you to think bigger. What happens in the world if every woman who struggled with her weight and her body image had your transformation? What would be the effect? Well, first of all, she would probably be happier, so she'd put herself out there more. She'd get promotions at work because she actually stepped up and asked for opportunities or stepped into leadership. She would be a better communicator, so she'd have a better relationship, so divorce rates would go down. Wow. She would spend more time with her kids, and her kids would grow up happier and healthier as a result because they had the relationship and the education to live a healthier lifestyle. I get chills thinking about that, and it's not even something I coach on. But what I think about is, what is your mission? What happens in the world if you were to focus on that? We get so caught up in the content, right? And the marketing strategies and how much should my offer be priced at? What is the mission that you're willing to share with other people?
My gosh, that gave me chills. First of all, just the way that you were able to describe that ripple effect of, okay, if everyone had this, how would the world change? And you're right, we do get so caught up in, oh my God, what am I going to post on Instagram today? And then it becomes this tiny, minute way of looking at your business and your expertise. And you're like, okay, here's 3 tips on how to do this today. And that kind of content just isn't working as well anymore. And I bet you it's because of what you're talking about, because of these new, the buying habits, the buying desires, and all of the things. I'm literally going to log off of this and go journal on, okay, what's my mission, my movement? I'm so excited to implement this myself. I know that our listeners will be as well.
Yeah, it's we know this, but if you haven't written it down and thought it through lately and you're feeling stuck and you're I don't know how to talk to my people, go back to this, go back to those basics. It is the foundation for not only your personal brand, but building out community. And then to take that further, the next best thing you could do, one of those buying desires I mentioned was people want a trusted leader that they can follow. So the next step is to define your leadership style.
Ooh, this is what we talked about that I'm excited for.
I believe everyone can be a leader, even if you're an introvert, even if you have never done any kind of leadership before. I promise you there are people who already look up to you, that already see you as a leader, even if you don't see yourself that way. So diving into those, there are basically 4 leadership styles that I have seen that work very well for community. And you might be more than one or a combination. And you can do a lot of these things, but really pick the thing that comes naturally to you and lean into that. Make that your style. Okay. So the first is connector. And this is naturally, I'm a connector. I love connecting people to each other. So if you're a connector, you like helping people grow and expand their connections with others. So some things you can do are Host events, virtual or in person if you're a connector. Post a lot of photos that have other people in them and tag. Like, I'm giving you very actionable, tangible community building strategies here. If you're a connector, tag those people. Another fun thing I do as a connector is I take 2 people I know. I'm going to do this to you actually right afterwards, Shauna, with my friend who lives in Denver. I'll take 2 people I know. I'll dump them in a group chat and I'll say, hey, girlfriends, you guys need to know each other. Here's why. Here's why I think you guys will be an amazing connection. Okay, bye. Peace out. And I dump them in the group chat, and then they're obligated to talk to each other. And then that's how I make those connections. Now, if you were like, okay, yeah, I'm a connector too, that's cool, great. If you're an introvert, the next one it might be for you. I find a lot of introverts are recommenders. So a recommender is someone who loves helping, sharing resources, sharing things they enjoy. Okay, you raised your hand, yeah. This is often a space where introverts excel. So some things you could do are like share your favorite products or processes or software tools that you can use. Post, it doesn't always have to be business related either. Like, what books are you obsessed with? What podcasts are you binging? And tag those people and tag people who would be interested. The other thing you can do is make a habit as you talk to people and build relationships. Make a habit of like, hey, I'm going to talk to 5 people this week or 5 people once a day. For like, I'm going to send them a personalized recommendation.
Love that.
So for example, if you see your audience, like if you see your girls out going for a walk and they're like, let's go back to the weight loss example, and you see people walking, DM them like, hey, if you ever want a walking pad, here's the one that I love. And just drop that in. It doesn't even have to be related necessarily to your exact program, but being a recommender just provides value and trust.
Cool.
And you can always overlap these and use different strategies. Then there's motivator and cheerleader, and these 2 are slightly different, so I'm going to describe them. And I will say, if you're a cheerleader, a lot of times people seem to think that cheerleader is not as great a leadership style as maybe a connector, right? Cheerleaders are like, oh, I don't have a lot of skills, but I can cheer people on. And I want you to know, if you are a cheerleader, this is so needed in the world right now. And I'll talk more about what things you can do, but we are in a place where people are desperate to be seen and valued. They want to know that there's someone in their corner. This is actually one of the strongest possible things you could do in your business right now. Yeah. So a motivator is someone who is the aspirational person. They are like motivating you to take steps to achieve your goals, to make progress. So that person is like posting their own goals. Like, hey, I'm, on day 10 of my marathon training, or I signed up to take this free class for my business and here's what I'm doing, or it's 12 days to launch and I have 7 cups of coffee on my desk, but we're doing the thing, right? And so you're sharing your hype and you like to publicly declare your goals. It is incredibly motivating to other people. They love following along with that.
That might be me more than the recommender, because I felt very more like about sending someone a walking pad randomly.
Okay. Other people are like, I'd have no problem doing that.
Oh yeah, they would be, and that's needed. I love when people send me stuff. I love it, but I don't think I would do that. So now I'm thinking,
I'm not a recommender at all. I think you're probably a motivator. So some other community building actions you can do if you're a motivator are reshare other people's progress posts. So like your Instagram stories, people typically use them as like precious real estate, but they just don't hold the weight that they used to. So why not use it as a strategy to build community, and you're cheering your people on. So when they post, like, hey, I made my first reel and here it is, right? You're going to reshare their reel and be like, my incredible client just posted their first reel and I am so freaking proud of her. That's what a motivator can do to build community, because you're basically showing them like, hey, I believe in you so much, I'm going to share your stuff with other people.
Love it.
Motivators can also do, I love recurring themes for motivators. So like Mindset Monday, Let's Freaking Go Thursday, something like that.
Love it.
And what you're going to do is you're going to encourage people to post with you, right? So you're going to post your Let's Freaking Go, and you're going to share your to-do list or your gym workout or whatever. And you're going to say, tag me in your Let's Freaking Go Thursday, and start to build community as other people do that too.
Cool.
So maybe that one feels a little bit more like you.
It does. It does. And you said that you're a connector, right? Yes. Sorry, I'm totally interrupting on all of this, and I'm so excited about it. So you said you're a connector?
Yes.
I love that. And I admire that skill so much. Like, there have been several people throughout my career, especially, where I'm starting to notice, like, oh my God, you have this amazing skill. And I want to ask you more because I want you to get into the cheerleader here in a second. But will you tell us, like, do we need to really be all four? Do we need to develop the ones that we are not? Do we really lean into the one that we are? Like, what do we do?
Yeah, I would say, just lean into the one that feels like it comes natural, that you're
Okay.
probably already doing with
Okay.
your friends. You don't necessarily need to do all four. You will probably develop habits of more than one to be
Okay.
an effective leader. But the whole point in doing this is to figure out something you can do that's reoccurring that people start to recognize you for. Because
Yes.
that's a key to leadership. You can't just be ethical, you can't just be smart. You have to be someone, like, they recognize you for something. And so picking something that you're naturally good at, or you feel that energizes you, that makes you feel like you enjoy the process as your leadership style, is one of the best things you can do. So I love talking to people.
Obsessed.
And it's really funny because my mom is also a connector, and she runs an entire community online as well. And so we own a business together and stuff. And so for a long time, I was just like, before I realized I was that same way too, I was like, oh my God, please just stop talking to people. Like, why are you making random friends at the cruise ship terminal? Like, you just met some Canadians and you told them where we were staying in an Airbnb. Like, what are you doing? She's like, but I also learned where they lived. And it's so funny that it took me a long time to realize I was that way as well and recognize that that was a strength. So think about your habits that you maybe are already doing with your friends, or that people have told you and they're kind of joking. They're like, oh, you do this weird thing. But what if you make it your superpower that makes you recognizable because it's, that relationship building component?
Oh my God. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, so tell us more about the cheerleader.
Yeah.
Because you talked about connector, recommender, and motivator.
Yes.
Tell us about the cheerleader.
Okay, so this is when I feel like cheerleaders always downsell themselves. And I just want to be like, no, you are so, so needed in the world. So a cheerleader is basically the person who is always the encourager, supporter. And this is very different because motivator, that's your hype girl, right? Like, she's giving you the kick in the butt. Cheerleader is like, hey, I know you are struggling right now and I see you and it is okay. And I want you to know I'm here for you. And I'll be honest, I wish I had a little bit more of that gift, a little bit softer, a little bit more approachable. And instead I'm like, why didn't you do the thing today? Right? But a cheerleader is someone who comes and it makes people feel okay even when they are doubting themselves. She makes people recognize where they are, celebrate those small wins, celebrate the progress and the hard days. And there is not enough kindness in the world. And I truly think that cheerleaders are someone who can deliver that really, really well. So some very practical strategies if you are a cheerleader, if you love making people feel good and just making their day and making them smile. Some things you can do to build community in your business include being the hype girl in the comments, like cheering people on. Engagement is at an all-time low right now. There's so little engagement in content in social media right now that literally, if you are just the commenter, you will get sales solely on that alone because you're the only one leaving comments. No one else is commenting. So if you take the time and you go to your ideal client and your audience and you're putting in a sentence that's positive, that's genuine, that is encouraging, it's going to stand out online. People will notice. The other thing you can do is sending personal notes of encouragement. So someone I know who does this, Jenna Kutcher's a really good example. She's talked about how she texts 5 people a day in her network, just a personal note of encouragement of like, hey, I am thinking about you. The last time we talked about XYZ, or I've seen your post. I know that you're working on this goal. I hope that you have an amazing day. I just want you to know I'm thinking about you.
I love that.
I don't know the last time someone sent me that message. And if they did,
Would you cry?
I would cry, right? I would cry. I would tell other people they made my day. So if that's something that feels like a gift to you, if you already naturally do that with your friends, do it with your clients, do it with your audience.
Love it. Love it.
And then finally, I'll just say, reshare other people's posts, hype them up. This is kind of universal across all leadership styles, but in particular with cheerleaders. And something I try to really put effort into is just hey, this person has a live event. Everyone should go get tickets if like if you enjoy this kind of thing. Or I'm so excited for her launch. Her program is going to be amazing. I've worked with her in the past. She does an amazing job. Cheering people on in that way can be so powerful. And most social media experts and strategists, they don't talk about how valuable this side of things is.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, okay, so as you were going through all four, connector, recommender, motivator, cheerleader, I can actually pick out like certain things from each of the four that like, oh, I used to do that really well, or I know so-and-so does that, or just like, what if you're a mix of all of them? You said just like lean into the one that feels most natural? Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you need all four to be a good leader? What do you think?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
And if you are a mix, you're like, but I could do all of those things and I already do them. I would say just for your own sanity and the scalability of this as a strategy, pick a few that you can do on a recurring basis.
Yes.
And, so set reminders in your calendar or add tasks in your Asana or just make a habit. Like my life rule for myself is if you have time to scroll, you have time to build relationships.
Ooh, I like
so
that.
If I get on Instagram and I catch myself scrolling, I'm like, hey, you don't get to look at that post unless you're willing to leave a comment.
Ooh.
So,
okay.
But I'm not someone, I might occasionally recommend something from time to time, but I'm not going to try to force myself to always generate new recommendations for people.
Yeah.
So pick the things you feel like you can do recurring, and that's going to help you be recognizable and build out that leadership style.
I love that. The reason I was asking about like all the multiple different things, like I feel like I am more so a motivator when it comes to social media. Mm-hmm. And to the strategies within business. But then the recording that I just sent to you for the summit, it's all about confidence on camera and it's very much cheerleader. It's very much cheerleader. It has very specific like steps and very specific strategies, but it's also coming from more of like the feminine side of like, this is softer. Like you gotta be seen in order to be comfortable being seen kind of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I just think it's interesting that we could have all four inside of us, but one is probably going to come most naturally. I think connector is such a good one, and I wish I had that. I used to think that I could be the person who would set up like my friends on dates and like all the things. I shouldn't be allowed to do that.
The friends have said no.
Yes, they've said no. Okay, so one thing that you mentioned earlier, like going back before all four of these types, I loved how you were talking about looking at your mission and going back to your mission. I think that it's really important to be able to zoom out on your business because we get all caught up in the individual Asana tasks, in the individual daily grind, like minutia of things. But when you really zoom out, you can capture the feeling of why you show up the way that you do. And it's not like I'm writing down my why. It's like, okay, what's like this big feeling? And like you said, the big movement I want to create. And I'm obsessed that you can take this feeling and this movement, apply your leadership style, one of those four, and run with it. And then it just naturally builds for you. I love it. How have you seen this work in your business?
That's such a great question. My why, my mission, what I care about in the world is that it kind of all started with me learning the statistic that 42% of businesses in the United States are owned by women. And in my home state of Florida, that number is 45. It's one of the highest rates in the country. And I was like, oh, this is really interesting.
Cool.
And then I learned that only 1.9% of female-owned businesses ever cross the $1 million mark.
Ugh.
Ever. Like in their entire time that they own the business.
Okay.
And that, I got sick when I heard that. I was like, I had already crossed the $1 million mark, and I'm like, it's hard, but it's also easy. It's simple, but it can be done, and I'm like, so this is clearly something's missing. This is not okay.
Yeah.
It's not okay if we own almost half the businesses, but not even 2 people in a room of 100 entrepreneurs are women who have made 7 figures.
Wow.
And so when I heard that, I was like, this is what I know my my gifts are aligned with, my experience is aligned with, I know I can help grow and scale women's businesses. And so I can't just say, oh yeah, I can help you grow your business. Like, unfortunately, there's like 55,000 other coaches saying that exact same thing, right?
Totally.
And some of them are scammy and some of them are great. And like, but nobody knows and nobody's going to care if I just say that. So instead, I need to create things in my business and really put in the time to build those relationships and show other women in my audience, in my community, that I genuinely care. So I'll use an example. This is actually really, it's more of the cheerleader, which I said is not really my main area, but there's some connector in there too. So about a year ago, I went to an event just as an attendee, a conference, and I met a girl there and she invited me to her event that was happening. Again, this is like out of state, and it was like 6 months later, and I was like, I actually already have plans that weekend. Like, I'm so sorry I can't come. I would love to come, but like, and so please like keep me in the loop for future events. And I was like, but is there any way I can support you as well? And she was like, I'm actually looking for, XYZ. And so the connector in me was like, hey, I know some people that could help with that. Like, let me connect you. In person, all I probably said to her was about 20 words. Wow. That's like literally it. And then the next few months, even though I can't attend her event, I can't buy the thing that she's selling. Yeah. I was like, you know what? I'm going to show her that I care. Yeah. This is who I am. So even though we can't necessarily work together right now, her as my client or me as hers or anything like that, I just care about my mission, regardless of that outcome or when that could happen or if it will ever happen. So for the next 6 months, while she's promoting her event, I was the hype girl in her comments. I couldn't even go. And I'm like, every time she announces a speaker, I'm like, this person is amazing. They're going to do such a great job. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you landed her. Like, I maybe looked a little delusional. People were probably surprised that they didn't see that really hyped up girl at the event because of how present I was in her comments.
I love that though.
And it was maybe 2 minutes of my entire week. And she was like, you're the only one sometimes that commented on my posts.
That's a big deal.
Right? And another 2 months go by after her event. When I announced my conference dates this past year, she not only bought a ticket, but brought a friend. So that one way that I enacted my values turned into 2 paying clients. Mm-hmm. And then she asked me to speak at her event next year as well.
Oh my God, that's so awesome. So this whole idea of relationship building and supporting other people, and I have a really important observation that I want to share, and it's actually something that I've been talking with my business coach about and that she's been talking to a lot of people in our mastermind about. But the idea of you get so attached to a number that you're reaching toward. You get so attached to, oh my God, I have to make this 10K month. I have to make this 15, 20K month, or else I'm not okay. I'm not worthy, whatever. But we're so attached. And when the second that you can detach from that is when things actually start to happen. And this is actually a really great example of that in action where you're like, I'm so sorry, I can't come to your event, but I want to focus on my mission. And focusing on your mission is a great way to detach from that outcome. I think that that's really beautiful. And you've shown that it actually also has ROI. Detaching from the, okay, we can't work together right now, but let me be your hype girl. Let me freaking go engage on every single post of yours, and from a genuine place. Yeah. I think that that's really beautiful too, because I don't know about you, there are definitely some people where I have felt the pressure when they engage with my stuff and then they slide into my DMs a week later. I'm like, leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Yeah. I don't slide into anyone's DMs. I don't do any kind of pitching. Literally people just come to me. I do not pitch. I don't do sales calls. I don't do DMs. I'm not going to send you my offer unless you asked me.
Love it.
And I've built $1 million business on this because I believe if you show people who you are and you actually act on those values, the customers come. And I can have, and that sounds, I'm not a woo girl, and this sounds woo for me, but literally if you detach from the outcome and you just say, here's what I'm doing, here's why I'm doing it, here's the behind the scenes, come with me, come be a part of this.
Love.
Buyers come. There will always be more money and more clients to go around. So you got to be secure in that belief, because it's self-doubt will always come in so fast. If you look for a reason you're going to fail, you're always going to find it. So there is a big identity component to this and to being that leader. And of course, there are other very practical things, and we won't get too deep into that. But, there are ways like you can have a Facebook group, you can feature your community members. Like there are very practical strategies, but a big part of it is who do you want to be as a leader, and knowing that that leadership turns into buyers years down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this. This conversation has been so amazing, and also it gives a different lens to just the regular everyday, oh, here's how to post content on Instagram kind of thing. Like I loved this conversation. I want to have you back again and again and again. Let's talk for a minute about the summit that's coming up, or just if you wanted to talk about any way that people can work with you. Where can people find you, first of all?
Well, we just told everyone I don't sell. But anyway, so here we go. Thepowertable.co on Instagram. It's also the Power Table podcast. You want to come listen. If you're listening to this, I believe you're a podcast girly. Just come listen to our podcast too. It's really great. And then me personally, you can find me on Instagram or LinkedIn at Taylor Smith Online.
Beautiful.
It's the same on both platforms. That's also my website. And we have a summit next month, an online virtual summit called Stand Out and Sell Out. And it's a 3-day summit. We have over 45 incredible speakers, including Shauna. And it's all about how to position your brand in a way that's magnetic, in a way that builds in community, in a way that builds confidence, and that literally sells out your offers because you decided you're done playing small. So I'm so excited. And maybe you want to drip some sneak peeks in here, like give some little teasers about what's in your talk as well.
I definitely will. And I'm going to be talking about it on my Instagram, on LinkedIn, all the things, but I'm going to be talking about confidence on camera. And I have a mini course that like goes through this, but I'm basically taking that mini course that I sell to people and I'm putting it into this talk. And I'm really, really excited to be able to just take people through this. And I think it's like 22 minutes. It's not long at all. And it's so good. And I can't wait to hear the other 44 plus speakers, because just knowing you, Taylor, I can guarantee that you are curating a room, a virtual room, if you will, of really, really epic expertise. So thank you for having me there. And I'm really excited to be able to pour into your community. And thank you for pouring into mine today. Go connect with Taylor. She's awesome. And come to the summit next month. We'll definitely drop the links in the show notes. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'll put it in the video description below. And don't forget to apply all of the amazing leadership. I keep looking down. If you're watching this on video, I keep looking down because I take notes during podcast interviews because I like to know like what's happening. One more question for you, Taylor.
Yes.
What is one way you like to stay creative in your business?
I need physical activity. So I will get very burned out mentally on like thinking and writing and content. So usually what I need to do is I need to go out and get physical activity. So here in Florida, I love paddleboarding. And then my obsession for the past year has been pickleball. And
so fun.
It's so fun. And you'd be like, why is that creative? But if you've ever played pickleball, like it's strategy, it's social, it's fun, and you will not think about your business because you're just trying to keep score. So the scoring is complicated in such a way, I guarantee you will forget about everything that you were stressed out about because you're just trying to keep score, but it's so much fun.
Oh my God, I love it. Thank you so much for being here, Taylor. I really appreciate you. I can't wait for everyone to hear this episode. And friend, wherever you're listening from, thanks for listening. I'll catch you in the next episode. Hey friend, thanks so much for listening. I hope you loved this podcast as much as I loved recording it for you. It would mean the world to me if you would share this podcast with your friends or on your Instagram story like, oh my gosh, I just listened to the Creative Minute podcast and it was so good. It means the world to me when you help get the word out there. And if you'd like to work together, head to shaunayurko.com to see all the great ways that we could connect and work together. Don't forget to follow the podcast, thecreativeminute.podcast on Instagram. Get educational content from me at Shaunayurko, SHANAYURKO. Can't wait to connect with you, my friend. I will catch you in the next episode.